Ciara, how are you today? How are things
I'm
going?
doing good, doing good. I'm having a wonderful morning with my son, and hopefully he behaves, but it's
Uh,
good.
that's okay if he doesn't. Listen, I'm a mom, I get it. So whatever happens,
Yeah,
happens.
sometimes
It's
he
so
wants to come up and he wants like the little attention on the screen. So if he wants his starring moment, here it
uh,
is.
he's got it. I allow it. It's not a problem at all. Excuse me. I really love the first movie, and this one is just so adorable. I was able to speak to James for the last one. Just like at the height of COVID, I remember I went back and even looked at the interview, and I was like, was that 2 years ago? My
Isn't
goodness,
that crazy how time has literally flown and it feels like, but it doesn't, it's weird because it feels like we've all kind of been like just floating. It doesn't feel like time has actually gone forward, but it has. I don't know how to explain it,
Exactly.
but
It's so bizarre. But I wanted to know, after the first one, was it always in the cards that you guys were going to do a sequel, or was it just kind of like decided after the success of the first one?
It was definitely decided after the success of the first one. It was kind of Robert, the writer, he kind of came in and like said, "Well, I had this idea for a sequel," but we all thought like you don't really see rom-coms having sequels very often, and also
True.
like we had a conclusion at the end. So what could you really have to go on? But they made it work and they're very creative, and it's even, I think it's really cute, and there's a lot going on. And the first one was kind of, you kind of go with it, and it's a cute little love story, and this one has a
Sure.
lot more elements to it, which is exciting.
Absolutely. And for the fans too, it's kind of nice to see where the relationship evolves to. Sometimes you're right. Things might seem like they end in a first one, but we kind of like to see where it's going to go, right? So,
Yeah, this is basically the in between of after the reunion at the very end. And
yes.
because at the very, very end, you see us like we have kids and we're together and this whole thing, but this is the in between time. So whatever happens in that world.
Which is great. It's very creative. So she
Mhm.
goes back home and brings him along, and everything's great. And then, like, bang, you think you're just going to be there with the family hanging out over Christmas, but uh, hmm, sister now she's engaged. Like, and it's not like this is happening in a year. It's happening in like 2 days. Have you ever been a part of something like that, where a friend or a relative or somebody's just like, "Okay, get married, and it's tomorrow"? That's nuts.
Marriage wise, no. I've never like if I've had people in my family, like my grandma elope and this kind of stuff, but like I've never been involved with it. But my family, like my mom's side, is so chaotic and chaos. So to me, chaos, I just float right into it and go with the flow with it. So I was so used to it where it felt like I was in my own family, like everyone talking at once, all this things happening, and I'm just like, oh, I feel like I'm at home.
Yeah. Okay. Great. No, because I mean, it worked. I don't want to give too much away about what goes on
Mm.
in the film, but it was a lot of fun to watch it, and just, poor James, man, like his
I know.
character. No, honestly, did you feel
He's
bad
just
for him?
so
Come on.
stressed out. So I feel so bad for him. And it just like poor guy just getting hit after hit after hit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that you guys knew each other even before the first film. You were friends for, I think you told me, for like 10 years before. But now that you're so comfortable with each other, like, you've got that great chemistry, and like, it's like two friends, I guess it's just not hard to get back into the swing of things and to work with him.
Yeah, it kind of worked out. And me and James have talked about it. In the first film, we went a couple years without seeing each other for a while. And so there was kind of that weird, kind of awkward, but like comfortable tension between us that kind of worked with the first one because that's what our characters were going through. And the second one, we kind of just fell right back and like, hey, what's up? We were so like completely connected, and that's how we need to be for this film as well. So it's almost like everything just works out for a reason, that God or whatever people believe in had a plan for us to be awkward in the first one, then like lovey-dovey, and then this one we're just like super, super comfortable completely with each other.
Absolutely. It just felt very realistic too. Like, he was very patient. He wasn't pissed off. You know what I mean? He just kind of went with the
Yeah.
flow, and kind of knew he would have his time whenever. Like, you guys were it just to me felt like a very real relationship, you know?
Thank you. We definitely had that off and on screen, and he was a great on-screen boyfriend at the time. He's very supportive, and we're such a good team together.
Yeah, you are a good team together. I like that, the matchup between the two of you, and also, of course, like, we get to see you do a little bit of dancing, and when you sing and dance on screen, is that something that just comes very natural for you, or is it something that
Not
you
for
like
me.
freak out about? Really?
I
Okay,
I freak out so bad.
you
James,
fooled
it's
me.
natural. Because like when I was younger, I did like singing and some dancing and stuff. But that was like when I was young, and I stopped doing it. So it was one of those things that I completely lost that muscle memory. And it's one of those things that terrify me. So when they got me to sing in the first one, I was so scared. But
Wow.
they got me into it and they gave me confidence and I trained a little bit for it. And so with this one, they're like, we're gonna throw you another one at you, and it's tap dancing. I'm like, I've never tap danced. I
Yeah.
did like a little bit of jazz and whatnot when I was younger and hip hop, but not tap. So I went through weeks and weeks and weeks of training. Plus, I'm gonna be dancing with a boy band guy who's on Dancing with the Stars. Like
Right?
so
Yeah. Yeah.
embarrassing. Like I can't just show up. Like he literally showed up and learned it and was like adding flair to it and
Yeah.
personality. And I just learned the steps, James. Calm down. So to me, it wasn't natural, but it definitely showed a different side to me that I'm able to do that and I'm able to
Sure.
push myself and
Yeah.
learn a new skill.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. And it just made me chuckle too, like in the film, we actually get a song from James. And I love when Maddie says,
Mhm.
who knew he could sing? And it just made me laugh because obviously fans of
Yeah.
his will be like, finally, he's singing.
That's the cute little moment. Like, who knew? We're like, uh-huh.
We all know he can.
Beautiful singer too. I love
Yeah.
that version of the song.
Oh yeah, it was really lovely. Honest to God, it really, really was. Where was the shot? It's such a lovely town.
So we filmed in Georgia. So it was a small little town, a couple different towns in outside of Atlanta.
Mhm.
I know we filmed in Rome, Georgia, and
Okay.
then there was a couple other ones. I forgot the name,
Yeah.
but they're very, very like small towny and it was very adorable.
Yeah, it really, really was. Just had that great. It's a perfect time for this film to come out. You know, Valentine's Day and all that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
we just don't get enough rom-com stuff. Like, is that when you're offered scripts now? Like, is it something that you kind of maybe want to do more of, or do you just like to mix it up? What do you look for?
I do like to mix it up, but in my age now, I'm really like after doing the first one, I just fell in love with doing rom-coms. It just gives such a good feeling, and
Yeah,
I'm such a romantic person myself, so I get to really throw and it, feed that side of me.
it's good.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and I mean, obviously, I don't want to like stick to one thing. I'm a very much a variety person, but I wouldn't be mad if I did a couple more rom-coms in my life. They're just good feel goods for myself.
Absolutely. And now, of course, you know, being a mom too, like, does that play into what you choose and, you know, when you
Hmm.
shoot and how that all works too?
Yeah, fortunately, if I was gonna have a kid, I had him during the pandemic. So I had him
Perfect.
at the best time. My manager's like, thank God. There wasn't really much going on anyway, and I had this giant belly. I was like
Yeah.
9 months pregnant at her premiere for the first one, and it was just like just waddling around. So it definitely is a different life now with my career. I have to think like, okay, well, I'm going to be on location. Is it for that long? Like, is it going to be okay? And especially because he's getting older, he notices and he's super
Right.
attached to me. Even if I can't even go to the bathroom without him, like, let me in. So
Yeah.
I have to be more picky. But with this one, it was a no-brainer for me to do it. And my mom is amazing. She was able to watch him for a couple weeks, and I
Nice.
got to make it in time for his first birthday. So that was all that mattered to me.
Yeah.
But it definitely changes your life once you have a kid and the choices
Yeah.
you make. Before I just would take, I'm like, you know what, that sounds fun. But now I have to really think, is this worth it to take the time away from my kid? And those some films and TV shows are worth it.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. And so what else do you know? Oh, before I go to what you have coming up, axe throwing. Is this something that you're a pro at?
I'm actually not too bad at it. I've done it a few times for fun.
Yeah.
Just like, I don't know why they put drinking axe throwing in one facility, but
Yeah, not a good
it terrible idea, but it's fun. And I've
idea.
like done it with friends. And I remember like in Kentucky when I was filming another film, like when we're off, we just start doing it. And I'm not terrible at it. And funny story is when we were filming on set, they're like, okay, well, just like you have to act like you're really good. I'm like, oh yeah, we'll see. And I did it. Bullseye, bullseye.
Whoa.
And I was so excited. And then James did it and he couldn't get it for the life of him. And I was like, beat you at something, James.
I
I took
get it.
all the
Yeah.
glory in that because he's amazing at everything. I'm like,
Right.
if I can win at one thing, here it is.
Exactly. Exactly. I know I've tried it before. I find it very difficult, but maybe I need to practice some more. It's not, it looks
It is
easier than it
hard,
is.
definitely.
Yeah, yeah. So what, you know, you've done so much great stuff, you know, especially like something like working on something like the Power Rangers too. I can't not talk about that because that comes with its own built-in fan base, no question.
Mm-hmm.
What's that
Mm-hmm.
like, you know, to be recognized and, you know, Yellow Ranger you know, that's a big deal. You've got a big responsibility there, right?
Very. I had huge boots to fill for sure. It was definitely a career changing moment for me because life changing, I should say, actually, because at the moment I got into the franchise, my life has drastically been different. Like
Yeah.
you're not just, oh, you'll get fans, this, that. It's a whole family of not just fans, but other Rangers. Like I'm now have like friends, cousins, uncles, aunts, whatever you want to call them in that sense. If I can call them whenever, I have such a good support system because of them. And like once a
Wow.
Ranger, always a Ranger. So we're always together. We're such a community. And then fan wise, they're just so dedicated. I've never felt so supported in my life than with the Power Ranger franchise. Like no matter what I do, they're like, yeah, Ciara, you're right here for you. And I'm like, this is the sweetest thing in the world. And it's crazy because we only filmed for like a year in New Zealand. And then
Right.
the rest of my life, it's Power Rangers. And the little girl in me just gets so giddy and thankful every time I think about it. Cause like who wouldn't want to be a Power Ranger? Like it's so cool.
Exactly, right? I know my kids grew up with it and absolutely no question. And Leslie, just, you know, you've had the opportunity too, like being in the soap world, having worked with some such great soap stars. Like I was a
Hmm.
General Hospital girl like my whole life, like watching that. And
Yeah.
you know, you work with like Tristan Rogers and Jacqueline Siemens. What do you learn from working with veterans like that? Especially because soap is so, I think it's probably one of the hardest jobs. Like you've got to learn all
Hmm.
those scripts in a day or whatever. And it's a different muscle.
Yeah, soap acting is not for the weak. People are like,
No.
"Oh, you're on a soap." Like, no, it is one of the hardest things. You get like your script the day of, sometimes, majority of the time, and you have these pages and pages of lines you have to memorize. You get one or two takes, and then that's it. So going in, and I've tried to be on General Hospital so many times. I keep trying to find a role for me. It just doesn't fit. But like every time I go in there, I get to do like a screen test with this person, and just going on their set and working with them, they are so on it. They are
Yeah.
such pros. They walk in, they just float and flow with everything and so much confidence. And that was one good thing I'm glad that I did on Bold and the Beautiful in the early of my career. I did it right before Power Rangers. It
Yeah.
really gets your brain going. And then I did Power Rangers, which was a whole different training ground as an actor that it just like prepares you for any environment you're in. So I feel like I had really good training early on that everything became a piece of cake for me after that.
I'm sure. So anything else coming up next after Stars Fell Again?
Uh, for what I'm allowed to talk about, I I'm doing like some TV stuff. So I guess look, if anyone's watching How I Met Your Father, you can find me on an episode coming up.
Oh,
So that's
oh, fun. Yeah. I know they
yeah,
just
that'll be
announced
fun.
too that Neil Patrick Harris is going to have a bit of a, yeah,
Hmm.
that's cool. Oh, good for
That
him.
was such a fun set. Like they're
Yeah.
so family oriented as well on that. And I besides like Power Rangers, I've never been on a set that everyone just loves each other so much. And I was just a guest star too.
Nice.
So I come on and everyone just like, hey, like literally just hugging each other and like kissing on the cheeks. I'm like, this is the
Nice.
most friendly set ever. And I would work on this any day again. It's fantastic.
Good stuff. Well, it was good to see you back in this Stars Fell Again. I like again,
Thank
I loved
you.
it. It's just so perfect for this time of the year. And it was my pleasure having the opportunity to chat with you today. So
No,
good
me too.
luck
Thank
and
you so much.
have fun with your son. I saw his head popping up a little bit there. So
Yeah, he's
enjoy.
behind me playing with his little cars.
That's okay. That's great. Awesome. He was a really
Uh,
good boy. So tell him thank you.
Oh, I will. Thank you
All right.
so
Have a
much.
great weekend. Nice
You
chatting with
too.
you. Okay. Bye bye.
Bye.